Over the last couple of months, I've had the pure joy and opportunity to kind of get a peek behind the facade of Graham Stephan and Meet Kevin. What I mean by that is they both invited me into their world to have a discussion, both on camera and off. And my audience has asked me, so Michael, who works harder? I thought that was an interesting question, actually one that I have been thinking about for 48 hours or so. And I wanted to kind of answer that question and also go deeper, if you don't mind. First and foremost, when you look at what Graham Stephan and Meet Kevin are doing, I don't think you understand how hard both of them work. I am someone who sits here today over 50 years old, has worked extremely hard through his life. At one point, I had a full-time job. I was getting my MBA in the evenings with a full course load. I was working a weekend job and I was raising a family. I have to tell you, after meeting both Meet Kevin and Graham Stephan, they both work 5 to 10 times harder than I have ever worked. When I watched and I talked and I saw what both of them did, it made it clear that I have maybe coasted a little bit too much. And again, I say this as someone who thinks they have worked very, very hard for very long portions of my adult life. And I am willing to admit that both Graham and Kevin work harder than I have ever worked. So let's get into that. The next thing I would tell you, and I don't think a lot of folks see this, maybe you do, maybe you don't. I actually do not think that Graham and Kevin are in the same business. Now, it is true they both use YouTube. It is true they both started in real estate. It is true that they both continue to produce content. I do not believe they're in the same business. So we'll break down the who works harder over a couple of variables. And in fairness, I think a better question between who works harder might be who is happier. And I'm actually surprised that only one person asked who is richer. I would have thought more people wanted to know that, at least my opinion. So if we're going to step back and answer the initial question, who works harder, and you have that caveat that I think they're in a different business, I think we need to break that down. So if we are just to make it about YouTube, I again believe both work extremely hard. However, on the craft of YouTube, I think Graham Stephan is a Nobel Prize winning, execution oriented individual. He shared stories about how he can get lost in time and how he goes deep and how much time he spends researching and editing and doing all of that inside YouTube. Not that Kevin doesn't work hard. I think it's fair to say that he trend surfs. He produces a lot more content, right? That's okay. I mean, I do it here as well. I think Kevin produces a lot more content. I think he trends surfs. I also, based on my interactions with both of them, believe that Kevin is leveraging a bigger team. He clearly has more people helping him in YouTube, right? Both posting and editing and all of that. I believe Graham, still to this day, takes on a large portion of that himself, and more importantly, gets into the metrics, the variables, the details, and is constantly looking to improve. So if I call Graham Stephan a Nobel Prize winning kind of execution oriented person with YouTube, Kevin's no slouch. He's a PhD and probably multiple PhDs. But if the question is who works harder on YouTube, I think Graham Stephan hands down works harder. Now, if we step back and ask who works harder on businesses, I think that question is equally easy to answer. When you look at what Meet Kevin is doing and you kind of piece together the dominoes, I think it's fair to say he has a bigger vision. The young man has gotten multiple certifications in the last year. He is creating multiple channels. He is doing a lot of things. I think sometimes from the outside, without context, it appears that he's flailing. I do believe that he has a bigger vision. I think he has a bigger vision than House Hack. I think he has a vision that is scary to mere mortals, including myself. I don't know that he has it all set in stone, but I think it is very fair to say that Kevin is chasing some big things. And I think this is in Kevin's DNA, right? I mean, if you go back and watch OG or the original Kevin, I mean, he created a contracting business and this, that, the other. I think Kevin lives for the chaos. I think Kevin lives for having multiple balls in the air. I think Graham is happy being, the man in one lane. In the video discussion I had with Graham, which hopefully will be out in the next 48 hours or so, he talked about 3 times in his life that he got that focused on something, right? There was the original teenage Graham who got excited by coral and excited saltwater fish. Then there's Graham, the real estate agent who turned to leasing to pay the bills. And now Graham, the content creator. I think Kevin is he's trying to create something bigger. It will always have a YouTube component, no question. I think that is a lead generation engine for him. But I think Kevin's bigger vision is something that maybe is not clear just yet. That's not to say that Graham doesn't have other businesses. I'm sure he does, and I'm sure he has multiple investments. But I think when you look back and you try to ask yourself, what does he do all day? I think he lets his other investments go with other individuals, and then he focuses on his craft. So I think Kevin clearly has more businesses and has more balls in the air, and probably has more things that can distract him and all of that. Now let's go to the question of who's happier. That's a really interesting question. When I step back and I remember the conversation we had with Kevin, his wife, his kids, which I was lucky enough to do after our video shoot, Kevin really shuts it down at 5:00, 5:15. When I was there, he shut it down. He started doing Legos with his son. It was awesome. Talked to his wife, Lauren. I think Kevin maybe has more balance than maybe most of us could imagine with someone who works that hard and has that many things going on. Kevin has just had a couple of new babies added to the family. So his family is growing and he's clearly happy being a dad. I think Graham is happy as well. I think he enjoys being in the weeds, in the mud. So I believe both young men are very happy. I think one is more happy kind of in his head, kind of trying to solve the Rubik's Cube, the ever-changing YouTube algorithm. I think Kevin is kind of living out loud in the environment. Now, if we step back and go to who is richer or wealthier, I understand why people would want to ask. But you know what? I did not ask. I do not care. And I have no idea, and don't none of my business, frankly. I think at the end of the day, what I learned from both these gentlemen is just what hard work looks like. When you look at what Graham has done inside of YouTube and how much time he spends editing and working and massaging, and just getting it just so. How many things that Kevin has going at one time. I don't know how you keep all of that going. And I don't think there's any question why both of these young men are very, very successful. Very successful, I think, in different ways, but successful nonetheless. They both humbled me, as it was eye-opening to see just how hard they work. It also brings me joy to know that I do believe they are both happy. I think they are both happy at what they're doing. I don't think they would be doing it, obviously, if they weren't. But at the end of the day, I appreciate both of them for giving me the opportunity. I appreciate both of them for both the on-camera and off-camera conversations. And yeah, thank you for setting the bar so high about what hard work looks like. Alrighty, folks, I hope you enjoyed that. I can't wait to share with the Graham Stephan video. I'm hoping to have that done Monday or Tuesday. Yes, it will be the first edited video ever on my channel. I took the raw format and paid somebody to cut it up. I have no idea how it will turn out, but I'm sure it is wonderful. Thanks. Take care. Bye.